no less than the President of the United States, indicating today from Madrid, Spain, that things are going to get worse the more we help out Ukraine. Take a look at this.
The reason why gas prices are up is because of Russia. Russia. The reason why the food crisis exists is because of Russia. Russia not allowing grain to get out of Ukraine.
Well, it's not just Russia. The fact of the matter is, and I think as you've heard many, many times on this, we were having quite the inflation problem long before the first Russian troops were amassing along the Ukrainian border. In fact, we had seen inflation and gas prices running up at the double-digit rate it was, gas prices alone up better than 50% in that time between the start of the administration, the Biden administration, and then, of course, well, the first feet on the ground in Ukraine of Russian soldiers. So just putting that in perspective, a lot of factors at play. Now what happens going forward? Let's go to Douglas Holtz-Eakin, the former CBO director, Congressional Budget Office director. It's not all Russia, but I don't want to go back and forth of what and who started this. We can get blue in the face doing so, Doug. But what worries me in the president's response here is he seems to be saying, we resolve the Ukraine thing, everything will be just hunky-dory for the world and everything else. But this inflation thing, I think, goes way beyond the Ukraine thing. What say you?
Well, you're absolutely right, Neil. If you go back to February of 2021, energy inflation is 1.9%. The next month, we do the American Rescue Plan, overstimulate the economy. In March, or in April, the inflation rate's 24.3%. It has been below 24% in energy inflation. That's using the Fed's preferred measure since. So this is a homegrown problem. It's not Russia. And it came from policy errors. The Fed staying loose too long, overstimulation by the fiscal policy. And so the number one thing is to not make another mistake. Congress could make a mistake. They could have $1 trillion tax hike. That would practically guarantee a recession. So we can't do that. And we have to make sure that the Fed is aggressive and takes on inflation, and there's some signs that they're having a little bit of success there, and also takes on inflation expectations so people don't expect things to stay bad. And then, you cross your fingers and hope that in defiance of the historical record, they can get a soft landing.
But I do worry, though, no matter where people are on this issue, whether the oil companies are greedy, and all of that. They've done dozens of examinations of this over 40 years, never found proof of that. But it's a predictable refrain. What worries me, though, is they're just not talking to each other. I remember when the oil execs came, to talk to the energy secretary. It was a meeting at the Energy Department, not at the White House, and the president never saw them. And the accusations go back and forth. I mean, if that isn't resolved one way or the other, this is going to continue.
The scapegoating will continue. This White House has pointed fingers everywhere they can to say the inflation is not their fault, and I don't expect that to change. A discussion grounded in the data would be useful. Neil, they talk all the time about how we had rising concentration and market power in big companies, whether it's oil or tech or health, whatever it is. If you look at the data, there is no such rise in concentration. So this is a non-story. They're talking about an ideology that comes out of the progressive left. The data tell you a different story. We need to have a discussion about the data and what the economy can and cannot tolerate. Right now, the Fed's doing a good job at leaning against the inflation. We hope they don't overdo it. Chairman Powell's been very clear that there is always a chance that could happen. We need to not make other mistakes. And I think that's the biggest risk we have right now, is that in an overreach, they'll do a reconciliation bill with $1 trillion tax increase, and that would be a really bad decision.
Yeah, we have never had an inflationary problem that wasn't preceded by a whole lot of government spending. So we'll watch that one very, very closely. Douglas Holtz-Eakin, thank you very, very much.